Hey everybody, I'm Becky Adams. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel today. So today I have another project with the December 2020 Hip Kit for the Hip Kit Club design team. That's kind of a mouthful. So today I am using only the main kit. So all the products that I'm using came in the December main kit. And my assignment was to create a layout using punched circles, triangles, and angled element, I guess. So I did some of this off camera, but I will walk you through and tell you what I did and a few tips that you might need if you wanted to recreate this project. So I started with a piece of white cardstock because I wanted to add a lot of patterns on top of it. So I wanted a nice neutral base. I did trim it down a little bit. I just love to have a little bit of a patterned border. So I used this beautiful blue pattern paper. I obviously gutted it because I wanted to save every little piece of this paper. It's so pretty. So in the center, you can kind of see here, it's got a big white circle in the middle of this side. So it's this beautiful snowy outside and then a white circle in the center. Obviously, there's not a lot of pattern left on this side, but you guys, I couldn't not save this beautiful blue pattern. I wanted every last bit of it. And actually, that's where I ended up getting all of these diamond or rhombus shapes, whichever you want to call it. So, but to kind of set the two blue patterns apart, I'm going to use this side. It's got a little bit of it's got a snowy background. And I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this one. And while I'm doing that, I will tell you a little bit about how I made that background. So I started with the punch that you saw. That punch is by EK Success. And at the time I'm filming this, I haven't been able to find this exact punch. I will keep looking, and if I find it, I will definitely put the link in the description box below, because it really is a fun punch that you can do so many things with. So I'm just removing the backing here from my double-sided tape. There we go. And then I also used some double-sided tape to secure some of the stitching, secure some of the threads, because there was a lot of thread on this layout and I didn't really want to leave all the threads hanging. I know that some people really enjoy that look. It's just not for me, especially when there are so many threads like there is on this project. So, okay. One thing I did want to mention is that if I can't find this punch, and if you can't find this punch, it would be really easy to get a triangle punch and to just use two of them to create this shape. And then you can still do pretty much this exact background if you just have two triangles that you put together. So I punched out a whole bunch of this diamond shape, and from 4 different patterns. And then I started putting it, kind of playing with different designs that I could use for to create this background. So one thing that I did have a hard time with, and it took me kind of a few minutes to figure out exactly how to make this work right so that it's not wonky. But let me say, this is by far, it is not perfect. My lines are not perfectly straight. But I think that they're close enough that unless you like look super closely, I think it looks great, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. So if I were to recreate this, which I probably will, I have done a background similar to this on another project. I'll link it down below. So I do think I'll do this again. And when I do, how I will line things up, and what I found is the easiest to line things up is by using a T-square ruler. Again, if you guys don't have one, you've got to grab one. It is my favorite tool. But I would take it on every row and make sure that you're lining things up, lining all of the edges up. And then move it over when you're ready to adhere the next one and line it up. And do that all the way across the layout. And if you do it that way, things will line up a lot easier than if you just try and like straighten this row, like do this row first and get it all straightened. Like I would work vertically instead of across and use your T-square. So that's my 2 cents on how to create this. And I think with that being said, you'll have, and I will have, a much easier time recreating this background. So when I was adhering these, the pattern paper, the punched pieces, I used just a tiny bit of adhesive, and I used it right in the center. And I did that because I knew that I wanted to add some stitching. So basically I just needed enough adhesive to hold it in place for a few minutes until I could get to my sewing machine. And then with my sewing machine, I just went down on all the sides. And then after I got that done, actually I don't remember if I went down or across first, but then I went across and stitched across there as well. And then to finish things off, I just did a stitch around the perimeter. So I totally think the stitching is worth it on this project. When I do it again, excuse me, when I do this again, I might try some hand stitching. I don't know that I do quite this much, but that's definitely a technique that I would like to try. So, okay, that is how the background came together. So now let's finish this project off. I want to make sure that I have the placement for my photo, this pocket, and the title all laid out. Make sure that everything fits before I start adhering. So I do know that I want my photo to go right on top of this pocket. This is, I don't know, it's hard to say what my favorite element is in this kit because there are so many good ones. But I really like these journaling pockets and tags. Tags are one of my very favorite elements to use in scrapbooking, or embellishments, I guess. And these ones are no exception because there are so many cute patterns and types of tags. Anyway, so I have, this is the envelope. There's a lot of envelopes too. I should mention that, of course. In the package, in fact, let me show you really quick. this is what the package of journaling bits looks like. So there's lots of tags, lots of envelopes. I love that they've got an eyelet already put into some of them. Lots of choices, a really great embellishment to work with. So I'm using this pocket, but I'm turning it on its side, and I'm going to cover up the text in the little houses with my photo. And I adhered my photo with these adhesive squares from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3O. And I did that so that the little, oh gosh, I don't know what it's called. The eyelet part where you would tie this around didn't poke through on my photo. So, and then two, I've pre-printed my journaling. I just printed it on plain white copy paper and then adhered it to the tag. So we'll just put that right back in there. And then the title for this layout is Chocolate Milk. And just really quickly while I'm adhering this, I can tell you my sweet nieces and nephews who are in the photo are completely convinced that Aunt Becki has the best chocolate milk. And it makes me laugh because I have the same kind of chocolate milk that they have at their homes. But the difference is that Aunt Becki adds a little bit more Nesquik than I think their moms do, just to make it extra chocolatey. And that, I'm telling all my secrets now, but anyway, that's how I make the world's best hot chocolate, according to these kiddos, is by just adding a little bit more Nesquik than their moms. Okay, so I'm just using my T-square to line, to make sure this envelope is straight here. I want that piece of string out. I don't want that adhered under my photo. And let's see. I'm gonna stick that right there. Okay. Anyway, and then in the journaling, it just explains anyway, my secret chocolate milk recipe. Okay, I'm just going to add these silver puffy letter stickers come in the main kit too, and they're so good. Such a fun font. They've got interesting letters. They've got really cute silver hearts as well. And initially when I was planning this project, I planned for a silver heart to go right there. And then when I got putting things together, and anyway, I decided that I wanted a pop of pink down in the title. So I added that little pink heart instead of the silver one, but I'm sure that I will add a silver one on another project. And you'll see why here in just a minute. You'll see why I wanted to add that little pop of pink down here at the bottom. So, okay, there's my title. I am gonna just stick these L's underneath just so that they stick to the paper a little bit better is all. If I didn't have the photo popped up, I would probably just leave them on top of the photo, but since it's popped up, I'm just gonna tuck those underneath. So at this point, I'm feeling a little bit like the bottom is feeling kind of heavy. And I don't, anyway, so it took quite a while for me to figure out what I wanted to go up here. So what I did is I just tore a little piece off of a pattern paper, and I'm gonna put that right there. My initial thought was that I wanted to tear out a section from the white cardstock and put a piece of white paper or a piece of pattern paper behind there. And I ended up not doing that because I wasn't positive that I would like it, and I didn't want to have a ripped background, especially after I did all of the stitching and placing those diamond shapes to create that pattern, and then rip the top up here and not like it. So I kind of just did that a little bit backwards, but honestly, since I added that stitching, you really can't tell, and it looks pretty much like I stitched that in place. So I just stitched along the top so that it would line up nicely and give me that little pop to kind of balance things out. So to finish things off, I have two things that I guess two types of embellishments that I want to add. I have some chipboard pieces, and then I have some enamel dots. So in the chipboard stickers, they have, I think there's 3 or 4 strips of this. They look like washi, but they're chipboard. Anyway, so cool. So I'm just adding one of those right there for a little bit of texture. So the chipboard comes with adhesive backing. I take the backing off of my chipboard most of the time so that I can play around with the placement and add foam adhesive if I need to. But if it's easier for you, you're leaving that adhesive is definitely an option. So right here, I want to be careful and make sure that I'm not adhering anything beyond this line so that I can easily get the tag in and out. So let's see if I go like that. So I'm going to actually leave the backing on part of that. I'm just going to tear. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave it on the whole thing. These 2 pieces will hold it in place, and then I won't have to worry about it. So I'm going to tuck that right there, kind of over the photo and into the title to kind of bring those 2 elements together. I'm going to add a cute little flower on this side as well. I think I'm going to tuck that one under the envelope. I'm going to put this one down with liquid adhesive. This is one that you easily could have left the backing on. The adhesive backing, it's just a personal preference. So this one I actually did leave the adhesive on, but I'm going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive because I am layering it on top of another piece. So I'm just going to layer that on top of that flower there. I'll put that back so my adhesive doesn't dry out, although I'm actually going to use it right here. So I obviously use the pink heart there, and then I'm going to put a pink heart up here, and I decided to use that silver heart that I was going to put there up here. And I'm going to just carefully layer these chipboard pieces. I want to make sure and cover up that red. I don't have it anywhere else on the layout, and I don't want to introduce another color at this point. So I'm going to snip off just the end of that so these pieces fit together a little bit better. I'm going to adhere this bottom piece with liquid glue. And I want it just off of that pattern paper just a little bit. Then I'm going to use foam adhesive to, actually a combination of foam and a little dot of liquid to put, and actually I need to check the placement on this before I glue it down really well. Okay, that works. And then I'm going to cut one of these in half. And use it on either side of the heart. Peel off the backing. Put a small dot of adhesive there on the bottom of the heart. And perfectly place that heart. Okay, before I put my liquid glue away, I am going to leave, one of my favorite things is to leave white thread on my, or white string, and just kind of loop it around. On this one, I thought it would be fun, and I'm not sure this will work, but we're gonna try it, to wrap this around the letter C to kind of connect the title and that journaling spot. And I think that's going to be super cute. So I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue there and hold that in place for just a minute. I'm going to do just the tiniest dot of adhesive there and glue that end right there. Okay, so the last, well, what I'm going to do is put the tiniest, like you can hardly even see it, bit of glue on this string, and then just drop it in place. And by adding that tiny bit of glue under the string, it will always lay perfectly on your layout, even after you put it in page protector and all that kind of stuff. So I do love how that turned out, and how I've got that string just looped around the C. I think it's just a fun way to bring the title together, or tie the title into the journaling envelope. And actually that's literally tying them together. So I have just a few enamel dots that I wanted to add. I want a little bit of this kind of lighter mint color up here at the top. And then over on this side, I want to add a little bit of, let's see, I actually need a pink and a green over here. And actually I don't, because I've got the pink right there. So I'm going to tuck, because now I've got just the bigger enamel dots, but I'm going to just tuck one of the big ones under there. Whoops. And put one of the medium ones out there. just to add a little bit to this one. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I was going to put a pink enamel dot right in there, but I don't want to add any more dimension to that chipboard piece. So, but I think I will add one to the center of this flower, because since it's not underneath anything, we can add a little bit more dimension. So anyway, that's going to finish this project up. So thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you being here so much, and I appreciate you watching my videos and commenting and sharing my videos. And I love seeing you recreating my projects. If you do create my projects, just please make sure and tag me, because I'd love to see what you're creating. Make sure that if this kit isn't sold out, that you grab one, because they are amazing. So thank you again for stopping by. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And I will see you again soon.